Thank you for meeting me, Mrs. Van Haven. I know this is a tough time for you.
Good morning. You saw the news.
I did. They said you refused to comment.
Hyenas. Does it surprise you?
Not at all. But despite all the kerfuffle, you didn't cancel our meeting. You want me to find your husband, don't you?
Finally, someone with some sense. After the police interrogation, I was beginning to lose all faith in common sense.
I can imagine. By the way, you do know you're being tailed. He's hiding in the car on the other side of the street. The tabloids?
Damn. We'll have to leave by the rear doors.
I'll leave by the front and distract him. Meanwhile, you can duck out the back. But first, a few questions, okay?
First, let's eat something, Mr. Oliver. The stress is beginning to subside, and I'm feeling very hungry.
You're not a fan of the Kerseys, are you?
What a detective you are, Mr. Oliver.
But you were once on good terms, weren't you?
Long ago, my husband and I were naive. That family always looks after its own, just like Catherine. Richard and her were made for each other.
Did the later absence of relations with the Kerseys make your life better? Did it make you feel better?
Absolutely. Till now. As you can see, they can spit poison even from beyond the grave.
Spit poison? Like vipers?
And how? And they're proud of it. They even have one of the damn snakes in their crest. In the crest! You understand?
Oh, I meant to ask about that too. How did they get that?
Shillard Kersey received a knighthood from the Empire for conquering and robbing Guyana. A genuine Prince Charming.
And yet the Van Havens lived happily ever after, at least till now. The viper, Catherine, is dead and Richard has bitten the dust. Well, that's convenient, isn't it?
What? Richard's dead?
Your words. The Kerseys do harm from beyond the grave. How did you know he was dead?
Is he really dead?
A playing card was found in his mouth. On it was written, "So end all vipers." It fits strangely well with the way you speak about them, doesn't it? Please, carry on denying it. Tell me it's all a coincidence.
Well, it's true. A playing card. Richard was a terrible gambler. If you're telling me the truth, clearly somebody decided to call in their debts.
And the Van Havens weren't on the list of creditors?
Stop, please. Mr. Oliver, hear me out. You'll get what you came for.
Go on.
I didn't kill Richard or anybody else. I could never hurt anyone. It's true, I can't stand the Kerseys, but they deserved it.
Can't stand is something you say about coffeehouse music. The Kerseys you hate.
Damn it, Mr. Oliver. Okay, I hate them. They killed my child. Do you understand? I lost my child because of them.
Could you explain?
I was pregnant when Catherine called to say we were going to a gallery opening. I felt nauseous and looked terrible. I just wanted to sleep. But the little princess wouldn't let up. She needed me to shine against. And I agreed.
And then?
We never even got there. A car sideswiped us on my side. Cat didn't see it. I want to believe she wasn't primping her hair in the mirror.
It must have been awful. Can you go on?
I remember nothing about the accident. The rest, I'd like to forget. The injuries were serious, Mrs. Van Haven. Too serious. I lost the little one. We never even knew if it was a boy or a girl.
My condolences. And Catherine, did she apologize?
As if. She just kept babbling on that we could have been killed and that our absence from the opening would upset her friends. Selfish, wouldn't you say?
Mm-hmm.
That's not the end. A few weeks later, she became pregnant. She was the center of attention again. She flagrantly paraded her happiness.
Whose upbringing fell to you following her death?
I avoided it as much as I could for the sake of Clarabelle. It's not her fault, but her mother was a viper.
Thank you for telling me this, Mrs. Van Haven. Let's take a break. Eat something. What would you like?
Yes, let's order.
Forgive me, but you don't look like a meek little lamb.
The food has sharpened your powers of observation.
I'm thinking about you and Catherine. After all that, didn't you want to get your own back?
No, honestly. Do you think I shot her?
Relax. I know you didn't.
That's a relief. My revenge is bloodless.
How?
I don't think it has any bearing on the case. It certainly has nothing to do with Joseph's disappearance.
Forgive me, but I'll be the judge of that. How did you take revenge on Catherine?
Fair enough. So, I destroyed her relationship with Richard.
But how?
Oh, that was too simple. Richard, like all the Curseys, loved to be admired, adored. He'd like to break the rules and forbidden fruit. You follow?
Not really.
Oh dear, Mr. Oliver. He was arrogant, greedy, vain, and a ladies' man.
Ah, you seduced him?
Oh, you're good. No, not me. That would have been too obvious, and I would have hurt Joseph. And anyway, that drunkard disgusted me. But I knew a Swedish girl whom he didn't disgust. Britt Gelmarkvist. I just had to pull at the right strings, and the two puppets jumped into each other's arms.
That's pretty cynical, but I'm impressed.
I can promise you Catherine wasn't. When she found out, she was so in love with herself. She didn't even see other women as competition, apart from in making bitchy remarks at parties. And then, oh my, her husband makes a fool of her with a plain and boring friend of hers from uni. That must have been a real blow.
Oh, it was... I'm sure it was. So, did you gain satisfaction?
Briefly, in my opinion. That's a bit of a blind alley, though.
And Catherine, did she know that you were behind her husband's affair?
She never said as much, but I think she did. She wasn't stupid, Mr. Oliver. She simply used her brain power to think about herself.
I'm curious about the picture that Richard brought to you after Catherine's death. Why didn't you want to accept it?
Several reasons. First, Richard claimed it was Catherine's will to gift it to Joseph. Such an expensive present from some woman for my husband would be bad enough in itself. But a Kersey family treasure as a present from Catherine, who herself received it as a wedding present? You have to admit, that's strange.
A little odd. Any other reasons?
The picture was definitely connected with Catherine's death. If you ask me, Richard was trying to slyly get rid of the painting to take the heat off. I didn't want him to sort out his affairs at our cost. What if some lowlife broke in on an evening to steal it? Joseph liked to stay up late. I was afraid.
I gathered that. What happened to it?
Joseph...
What's up?
They already know. The card about the viper in Richard's mouth. It's a threat to Henry.
I'd already worked that out.
What is it about the painting that's killed 2 people?
That's what I'm trying to find out before someone else buys it.
You better be quick about it. My poor Joseph.
In your husband's office, I saw your photos from uni. He spoke about them, but he didn't want to talk about Britt. Doesn't he like her?
He doesn't. Joseph was Richard's friend. And to begin with, he liked Catherine, too. But Richard's affair hurt her badly and damaged their relationship. He blamed Britt for that completely. You know what Richard's like. He said, "You know what I think about that?"
Yes, I think so. Your husband never guessed it was your doing?
Mr. Oliver, not every guy is a detective.
Uh-huh. How many people knew about the affair? Did you or Joseph tell anyone else about it?
I certainly didn't. But my husband was angry at Britt and had his weaker moments.
So who did he tell?
I can tell you, but not for free.
I'm all ears.
That paparazzi by the entrance. Get rid of him, now.
Why?
I don't want to sneak out of the back door like a thief. I've done nothing wrong, and I don't want the staff here gossiping. You understand?
I'll deal with it now.
That was quick. You probably offered him some precious sweetener. So, the affair. My husband told McFowle. He's a mutual acquaintance of his, and Richard's a businessman, but I don't know what he's in. I took Joseph to ask about that, telling him never to gossip again.
McFowle. Thanks. That information is the icing on the cake. Speaking of which, what would you say to some desserts?
With pleasure.
I have to admit, you're coping admirably.
I'm trying my best, Mr. Oliver. I have to be prepared for the worst.
I understand, but after all this, I'd like to propose we take a moment to relax. Perhaps over a coffee liqueur?
My God, yes. I need one like never before. Go ahead.
I need to check the investigation board. The card with the viper in Richard's mouth fitted someone else. I dialed Henry's number and straight out asked him about the painting. He replied that his tenement had been plundered some time ago and the painting was gone for good. I'm not buying that. I kept my cool and advised him to go into hiding for a time. Richard's killer might be hunting for him too. Then he started.
Maybe it's Britt. That viper ratted on us during the trial. Or Clarabelle. She's a cursey too. And she's got a viper tattoo. Keep your eye on the women, Oliver. The worst thing that can happen to me is a hand of poker.
He wasn't telling me everything, but I had other leads to follow. That Caceres, for example, who Clarabelle told me about. Why did she ask Baptiste to bring her that letter? Well, the guy was in London now, so it's gotta be... I need to check the investigation board. Now I need to set the new clues and data on the board. I think that's all I've got for now. Let's see if there are any connections. So, what do I have to deal with this week? Someone placed an order. The deal isn't great, but it's a chance for some extra cash. Good morning, Mr. Caceres. Arthur Oliver. Sorry for being late. If the lift was working, I would have been on time.
Why the excuses, Mr. Oliver? Stairs teach humility. And anyway, there are no shortcuts to success. There is no lift.
And what is our goal?
Coffee, isn't it? You want to sell it, I want to buy it. To buy all the coffee remaining on the market. You know which one.
You know what, Caceres? You're an interesting man. I'm beginning to understand where all the gossip about you comes from.
Is there anything new? What have they brought up now? What are they saying about Gaspar?
About Gaspar. They say he's on some sort of secret mission, that he's a strange, dangerous man, but I don't believe it.
And what do you believe in?
Honestly, there's less and less of it with the passing of time.
Aha! Your left eye is larger than the right. They know that too.
Aha, maybe. And your travels? More gossip?
Trips. Which ones do you mean?
The geographical one, not the one in your head.
They're helping. They're helping.
With what?
Finding the treasure. I'll soon locate it. Don't ask what it is. It's different for everyone.
Well, maybe you could recommend some places worth seeing.
Of course. The London sewers are marvelous. So wild. Almost like the jungles in Guyana.
Have you been to Guyana?
I'm not interested in the past. Let's talk about the future. Do you have coffee?
Let's return to our offer, Mr. Caceres. We will do everything to meet your needs, but I am open to suggestions.
Yes. Gaspar is very interested. What have you prepared for him?
Is Gaspar with us now?
From the very beginning, we're waiting for your offer. They are too.
You clearly dislike the deceit and greed of Londoners. I want you to know that in my firm, we have totally different values. Quality and customer satisfaction. That's what our brand is built on.
Lower profits? Better sleep? Oh, careful, Oliver. I might begin to believe you.
Great. Isn't this what you're looking for?
But what is Gaspar looking for?
An idea. Business and cooperation based on ideas. And coffee, of course.
Coffee! Ideas! Ideas for coffee, yes! I've been observing you very closely. You're going to have a heart attack. But not quite yet. Sometime. But for now, I think we can find common ground. You're staring at me. You want to understand the madman, Gaspar.
Yes, I do. I even like traveling without moving. Sometimes a simple conversation can be as interesting as a trip to an exotic land. But they don't happen too often. All I hear is the constant gabble of salespeople, the same sentences, the same phrases. You know, sometimes I think, what do they need their brains for?
I've heard you know Brit and Baptiste. A cold fish and a chatterbox. Marvelous! What did you try on them? Try it on me. No. Give me more. What does Gaspar want? Spill the beans.
You mentioned something about needing to buy a large quantity of beans. Well, in that case, I can throw in a few extra sacks for free. How many depends on how much you order, so maybe we could get down to signing the contract.
Even more coffee! If everything goes how I want it to, then they'll start treating me seriously. But, who are you really? Really?
You really want to know? And it was getting so interesting. All right then. I'm a businessman. Sometimes I'm direct, sometimes quite the reverse. Let's start directly. I can give you this discount on my coffee.
All right. They haven't hoodwinked you yet. You're like me, but you still won't get to the goal. As for the discount, it's too low. I want to place a big order. Big. So I want a bigger discount. Everything you've got.
How much does a lot mean? As a junior sales rep, I can only negotiate so far, but I can throw in a free sample of the coffee for you.
Samples? Samples are more coffee. A small portion. Just enough to... Stop. That's too obvious. What matters is the goal, Arthur. But okay, at least you're being upfront with me. That's what separates us from, from the rest. Gaspar doesn't want samples. He needs the night. We need it. The night, the dark, the quiet. Nighttime deliveries. Take it or leave it.
That is an unusual request, but we're not afraid of challenges. Non-standard services come at a cost, though. You pay more for the extraordinary, as I'm sure you know. With nighttime deliveries, the maximum discount I could offer is this.
I have to be cautious, you understand. I have to be one step ahead. A few percent here or there, what's the difference? I agree, but I require greater discretion. My coffee must be hidden inside boxes. That will keep them off the trail. No sex, out of the question.
Beans transported in boxes rot quicker, so you'd have to order more. How would that be? I could make money out of your ignorance, but ruining the beans and base lies are not my style.
Well, isn't this Arthur honest, Gaspar? So, am I supposed to just concede? Nothing of the sort. This discount or bring an end to this farce.
Mr. Caceres, you will not find a more sympathetic business person in the whole of London, but I could be persuaded to make things especially hard for you. This is my final offer.
Okay, I was just testing you. You don't want them to hear us. They'll be keeping an eye on you. But that's not my affair. Coffee. When can I expect the first delivery? I need lots of coffee.
I should sum up what happened after that meeting. So I met up with Caceres. He was really agitated, kept giggling the whole time. He wanted to buy up all the coffee there was. He needed it for his plans. Mystery upon mystery. The guy looked a mess. He looked like he wanted to blurt out all his secrets. So I thought I'd help him with it. I picked up the Kersey family's photo album. Clarabelle. Was anything going on between them? Looks like I was wrong. He didn't want to talk. He was getting ready to go, mumbling some fairy tale under his breath.
Miss H's last painting, and a painter got it. He found coffee in the frame. Magic coffee.
Miss H. Didn't he mean Harold? I asked why Cattermole disappeared.
Mr. H. He was an art restorer. Until he came across a special painting. Underneath the top layer of paint, another painting was hidden. And on that, the Kersey secret! The key to knowledge, power, everything!
Caceres called the lift. He kept on muttering.
Alas, Mr. H blabbed. Miss H. Mr. H met her at Lionel Kersey's. Jumped in at the deep end. Didn't know his sweetheart was working for the Yakuza, hunting the Kersey's painting. And the information about the hidden painting delighted her bosses. H was caught in a trap.
End of fairy tale. Caceres was in a hurry. I still didn't know what I needed to. I followed him. More questions. Why did he so clumsily overpaint his discovery on the Kersey's painting?
Me? Have you seen the Kersey's other paintings in the British Museum? They're all fakes! I did them. Was I supposed to destroy the planters with that amateurism? It's a joke.
He seemed like he wanted to run away, but he kept yakking. Who did he tell about the coffee in the frame?
Only Baptiste. And he then used it in his article. Of course, he wasn't stupid. He wrote just enough to piss off Richard, but without showing his hand.
Meaning?
To succeed, you need 3 parts of the genome. But Baptiste will never see it again. Thanks to Coralie, he'll end up just like Mr. H.
Meaning what? Buddy just cackled madly and slammed the doors. I don't know where he went, but I know where he ought to go. To a psychiatrist. I need to check the investigation board. Now I need to set the new clues and data on the board. So, what's going on in this company? Someone place an order. The deal isn't great, but it's a chance for some extra cash. So, what's going on in this company? Someone place an order. The deal isn't great, but it's a chance for some extra cash.